afternoon, everyone. Welcome to Ham Radio Basics Live, Season 3, Episode 16, Ham Radio News and Updates for 2025. Jeff, good afternoon. Thank you for stopping by today. I got a few things to talk about, and one of them actually came from my drone channel, believe it or not. It's going to tie in, I think it's going to tie in pretty well. A quick update just to let you guys know. Valerie's doing much better. My wife, with her vertigo, she's seeing a therapist for that right now, and it's making a world of difference for her. And we're much better. And thank you for your thoughts, prayers, and concerns for that. So that's some good news. And some of you who may have followed, and I don't know who may be following me on the drone channel, also know too that I have some major dental issues, and it's been a long struggle to find someone that was going to work for me, because there's a lot of these places that will do everything in one day, and that's not really what I want to have done, because if something goes south with that, you could have to have everything done all over again, and it's a mess. Well, I found one here locally, about a half hour away, and he has everything in house, has a lab in house that makes the temps and the all-in-ones implants, and it saves literally thousands of dollars there. Talked to us for 45 minutes. Was a super nice guy. Just absolutely loved him. So I'm real excited and real thrilled about that. So that's some good news on my end. That's going to be in the middle of May. So the week after that, we're going to have a rebroadcast. Probably do one of my ones with Jason or maybe James from Ham Radio Prep. One of the really good ones that you guys can watch. So I'll be getting that scheduled in for that week. I'm going to be taking off, like Friday's the surgery. Monday, I'm going to take Monday off as well too. I think I should be okay Tuesday to go back to work. Of course, I work from home, so that that kind of helps things out there. So no, Jeff, I see. One of the things with Hamvention is it's so close to Hamvention's literally like right in my backyard where I used to live. So no, I'm not going. The reason for that is in July, we're heading up to, my granddaughter has her birthday in July. It's the day after my wife's birthday. Go figure that. So we're saying it's like one of the other. We went to Hamvention last year. We went to Hamcation last year. This year, I kind of think we're taking off a lot because of also getting the surgeries done as well too. So and the expenses involved and everything. So yeah, I really wanted to go to Hamvention, but I think what we're going to do, an every other year kind of thing with them. I think that'll bode out pretty well. Time-wise, I didn't have time to go to Hamcation this year. Of course, it's only a little bit over an hour away from me here. So yeah, so that's the scoop on that here. All right, first thing that I want to spend some time talking about, and I know you guys, some people have talked about the tariffs and everything that's going on with that, and and one of the things that I've talked about on my drone channel with tariffs, just kind of sit back and wait and see how things are going. I know quite a few places drone wise have not really done anything, changed prices. There's some new drone products that are coming out. Hey, Cooley, welcome. Good to see you this afternoon. Hey, Chris, welcome. Thanks for stopping by. Some new drones are coming out, and everybody's kind of antsy in terms of what pricing is going to be for those drones and what kind of markup, because these drones come from China. Well, one of the things too, and I reminded some of my drone people, and obviously some of you drone people who are also ham radio people know for a fact a lot of ham radios come out of China. Not the majority of them, but a lot of them do, and will be subject to this tariff as well. Well, some news just came out. International carrier DHL, which they operate out of Germany, and they used to have a hub here in the United States, and business because a business at the time, many years ago, about 30 plus years ago, went south. They had to close that hub, but they still have operations here in the United States. They still have trucks here in the United States. And what happens with them whenever you get a shipment from DHL is they still have drivers. Quite a few of their shipments will come via USPS. They have an agreement with the Postal Service, but still quite a few of them come by a regular truck. And they're very fastidious about, if it needs signature, you better sign it. Excuse me. They don't. There's no options for them. I think they do have a waiver of it, but they still kind of want to see your ID and everything. So yeah, that's kind of where things are with DHL. Well, they just put out yesterday. I think it was yesterday. Yeah, April 20th. So that was a couple days ago. The DHL Express is going to halt shipments over $800 to United States consumers. And the focus of this article was on drones, of course, and drones. A lot of the drones are over $800, but it's any goods that are over $800. Now, the article itself, it does talk into retailers as a workaround, a limited option. And one of the things I can say is this. Obviously Radio Oddity, most of their products come from China. It would not, obviously, whatever they have in stock here in the U.S. wouldn't be affected by this, either by the tariffs or by this ban that's being instituted by DHL. But for what's coming in, yeah, it would apply for that. So, obviously, like a Xiegu G90, that's under that limit, so that would pass. But when you get like the 6200, 6300, those radios are over that amount, so that's going to kick in for something like that. So shipping's up in the air now. Wanted to read something here, see if I can find out. I know there was specific language here. Now, the whole reason for this is U.S. Customs and Border Patrol had been flagging a lot of shipments coming out of China from a certain area there, saying that the Uyghurs were involved in making them. And of course, there's a situation involved with forced labor and so forth. And that's not the case with DJI, with these drones. And I'm sure it's about the same with Xiegu as well too. I'm not familiar. I don't know where those radios are manufactured, for example, but this is something that could take effect for that. So I wanted to make people aware of this, especially if you're looking to get some of these higher end Xiegu radios from Radio Oddity, or you're thinking about spending quite a bit of money with Radio Oddity, and whatever they needs to come over from China. So, it's going to be kind of dicey here. Don't really know how this is all going to pan out. And again, the gist of this article was towards, the drone end of things. But I wanted to make you guys aware in case, you're interested in, say, a Xiegu 6200 and there's a delay in getting them. That would be the reason why there would be a delay in getting something like that. So I wanted to kind of pass that on and let everybody know. Now, as far as tariffs are concerned, I didn't see, I checked and I didn't see any of the retailers raising prices on things right now. But a lot of them have sent out advisements that, if this continues, that they will have to adjust their prices, and haven't seen anything yet on that. So kind of stay tuned on that. And also too, with that, from what I understand, and again, I've never talked politics on my drone channel. I don't do that here. I actually had a channel that was like that, and there's a long story about that. And I have one out on Rumble that deals with that, and I have groups that deal specifically with that. But here, we purely talk about ham radio and ham radio related type subjects. Okay. Now, tariffs are related, but it's not political. It's not it's not on one side of the aisle or the other. But with the tariff situation here, a lot of what lately has been going on has been talk of reciprocal tariffs, meaning, whatever one country charges, the other country charges, and they agree to it. And it's a reasonable rate to get a reasonable rate of return. And I think from what I understand, at least 50 countries have gotten on board with that. So that's a good thing. And I think Japan's been a strong ally of the United States. Hey, Andy, welcome. Good to see you this afternoon. Japan's been a strong ally of the United States. And of course, as everyone's well aware, that's where most of our ham radios are made. Okay, that's thanks, Jeff. That's a good point to raise. Yeah. It's kind of like this muddy water, gray area that nobody really knows what's going to transpire with this. And, one of the pieces of advice that I gave on my drone channel is, if you don't need a new drone right now, for example, a lot of Part 107 flyers licensed drone pilots, if they're operating commercially and they're using their drone to make money, either doing inspections or real estate photography or so forth, if you've crashed a drone and you need a new drone, or your drone's down and broken, by all means, go ahead and go out and get one. But for everybody else, I said, sit back and wait for right now. Okay. Just exhale. A number of drones are available out on Amazon, and same thing too with the ham radios. Okay. Some of these products may be available at your retailer of choice, and also include Amazon in on that, because Amazon has picked up carrying a lot more ham radio items. You'd be surprised what Amazon carries now. I mean, it's pretty incredible in terms of ham radio. I mean, I saw a 7300 on there, a 705 out there. I've seen some Kenwood items out there as well too. A lot of them are in conjunction, like with Gigaparts, and they don't charge that. Surprisingly, they don't charge that much of a markup on there as well. And Ham Radio Outlet, I do know that they partnered with Amazon before, so that's a possibility as well too. And I would say this for my ham radio enthusiasts here that follow me is, if you really need a new rig, I mean, if your rig has gone south and isn't working, or it's just something that you're going to have to sell for parts because it's just a nightmare, by all means, go ahead out there and get something right now. Obviously, if you're able to navigate the used ones, go for it. Okay. That's not used ones are always kind of dicey for me, because you don't know what you're getting. That's just who I am. I always have a tendency to buy new, because I've been burned several times buying used things. So that's one of the things for me is I will definitely buy new. And for those of you that really have that need right now, obviously, go ahead out there and get that. But my thought process right now behind all this is to just kind of lay back and chill out and let this process, play out. Give it a couple of weeks, give it a month, see how things are. I think things are going to get better here. I think we just have to be patient with all of this. And in the end, it's really going to benefit all of us. And again, this isn't being political. We've been walked on for years from other countries as far as trade is concerned. This is just trying to even the playing field as far as that's concerned. So, all right, I've kind of been on my soapbox about that here for a few minutes. Very interesting. One of the things that I like doing is lately, I've been a real big Chat GPT fan, and I've been engaging it. And, I find for the most part, it's pretty accurate, but in some instances, it's not accurate. And I'm going to show you something about that. One of the questions I posed to it, and let's see if I can get that up here. Okay. All right. Now, one of the questions I posed was the best 100-watt HF. What is the best 100-watt ham radio HF transceiver? Okay. And it comes up with the first one, the IC7300. It lists the pros: touchscreen interface, great receiver for the price, built-in sound card for digital modes, affordable, $1,100 new. Okay. No VHF, UHF, obviously. Okay. It has no internal tuner. Well, that's not the case. Okay. It does have an internal tuner. It's not the best, but it does have that. So what I did was I went down and I re-asked that question. I told ChatGPT, the 7300 does have a built-in tuner. Please revise your list. So it went in and it revised the list, which I thought was pretty interesting. But the results I think are pretty good here, and I think it kind of matches, generally what a consensus would be. Obviously, the top overall pick is the 7300 for pricing and features. High-end favorite is the FTDX10, which makes a lot of sense. And these are 100-watt HF transceivers here, okay? It lists cons: heavier and pricier. It's $1,500. Slightly steeper learning curve for the FTDX10. And it is. It has a Yaesu menu system, and, people know about that too. Now, it's best for portable and field ops, Yaesu FT-891. Pros: compact size, strong receiver, good power efficiency for a 100-watt class. Cons: no internal tuner, obviously. No SDR style display or pan adapter, obviously. The interface is more menu heavy. That's one of the big Achilles heels on the 891 is the menu system on there. That's just the way it is. Now, for Series GXers contesters, it comes up with an Elecraft K35. What's great: modularity, expandability, excellent filtering and receive quality, highly customizable. Cons: expensive, can be $3,000 fully equipped. Less plug and play, more of a builder's rig, which is true. I mean, and one of the things I really like about this is I give it questions in areas that I'm knowledgeable of, and that I know what the right answer is, what the wrong answer is here. Best all band, HF, VHF, UHF. Let's see, FT-991A. Pros: all mode, all band in one box, built-in tuner and sound card. Good for shack in a box users. Cons: not as sharp on HF receive as the IC7300, FTDX10, and more fan noise than others. All right. And what was interesting earlier when I posed the question, it also came up with the ICOM IC7100 as an option here, but it didn't here, which I thought was real interesting. But overall, I think ChatGPT, it learns from itself and it corrects some of its mistakes. So when you ask questions again in the future, it doesn't repeat those mistakes. And that's one of the things that I found with that. It will do that. So it's very interesting. I really, really like that. I think it's a tool that you can use as well too. But, and the one thing that I found after I've been heavy duty using it for about a couple of months right now, and that the more detailed your question is, the better your answer is going to be. That's one of the things that I found out. Like, if you throw out there, what's the best HF radio? Okay, well, you didn't specify. I asked, what is the best HF 100-watt radio? Okay, or you can ask, what is the best HF QRP radio? Or what is the best HF 100-watt HF, VHF, UHF radio? Just be more specific with your questions. The more specific you are, the better you're going to get your answers back from ChatGPT. That's just one of the things that I found. And I think it can be a very useful tool for us in ham radio. It will help answer a lot of questions, and especially a lot of basic questions. And I think it's real good for new hams, but use it with a grain of salt and with some caution, because sometimes some incorrect answers come up. And when an incorrect answer comes up, one thing that you do want to do is you want to go back and tell ChatGPT, no, that's not correct. Like I did in that instance, the 7300, it does have a built-in tuner, obviously not the best, but it does have one. And when you tell it that, it remembers that. So if when somebody else asks that question, it's going to come up with the correct answer. So it's important to update that as well. Okay. All right. Going to kind of move on here. Now, it was real interesting here. I also asked ChatGPT, let me get to the question here. Best handheld ham radios, okay? And it's real interesting. It actually gave me a list from that was out on the web. And let me go ahead and share my screen here. Now, the list is from our friends at Ham Radio Prep, okay? And there's Professor Jim up there, okay? Top five handheld ham radios in 2025. The Baofeng BF F8 HP Pro, which is estimated price is $70. Affordable and beginner friendly, dual band operation, USB-C charging, 8-watt output for better range, excellent value for the price, and it is available on Amazon. Okay, and here's my personal favorite and the one that I use, the Yaesu FT-5DR. Really, I have very little reasons to have any fault with this radio. Those of you that have it, you know exactly what I'm talking about. Okay, system fusion support, touchscreen interface, rugged and waterproof, APRS functionality, Bluetooth capable, and it is, excuse me, it is out on Amazon. And they mentioned the FT-70DR as an honorable mention. Now, in third place is the Yaesu FT-65R. It's rugged. Estimated price is $110. That is easy to program. It's rugged, a straightforward it's easy, straightforward programming, affordable price point. And I did give one away a couple of years ago for Christmas. It is a very good radio and people really like it. Now, the number 2 is the Anytone AT D878 UVII Plus, okay, from Anytone. And one of the things that it does talk about here with them, and I think that DMR programming can be challenging, but with the right resources, it's manageable. Okay, and everybody that I've ever talked to, and this is just me and my circle that I've been around. Some of you guys may be different. I don't know, but everybody that I've talked to in my circle said, it's something I would really. It takes a lot of time. There's this pretty steep learning curve, and I'd go ahead and pass on that. And of course, it lists the Kenwood THD-75A as the top pick, and the estimated price is $750. Comprehensive feature set, USB-C charging, onboard GPS, exceptional build quality, ideal for advanced users. Okay, and then it mentions the ICOM ID52A Plus and an honorable mention, and then the ICOM ID50A as well too here. So those are some options there as far as handheld. But again, this was based on my question that I asked ChatGPT, and it went out and it found that list, which I thought was great, and that's a good list. Okay, our friends Jim and James and everybody there at Hammer Test Prep, they do a great job in everything they do, and this is part of their curriculum, part of their coursework. In terms of, what kind of a radio should I get when I pass my technician license, kind of a thing. So, it all fits in. They do a good job there. So that's something that I would consider. We're going to take a quick look here at what's out on X, or I still call it Twitter. So let's take a look here and see what's going on here. Somebody just got a Nano VNA, and it is a very useful tool that I'm looking forward to getting here in the next couple of months. Really will is a real good addition to your shack here. Now, this was interesting right here. This antenna, somebody asked ChatGPT to make a super antenna for HF, and this is what it came up with. I thought that was pretty interesting. Okay, someone put out this short video here about a new Baofeng AR26, which is really, it's a UV5R something or other. And then I did some digging and a little bit of looking on here, and they said this is probably something you want to avoid. He did a test here, and it showed right away that it's supposed to have be a 10-watt radio, and it was transmitting almost 12. So that's not going to work real well here. This was real interesting. A Moonraker, king of the CB antennas, a little blast from the past. I thought I would share that with everybody here. Gentleman was set up to do POTA. This one I thought was pretty funny here. There's nothing like the smell of a Morse code pileup in the morning, and I'm like, okay, I'm not sure that there's a smell associated with Morse code pileups unless you were at like a breakfast with the smell of bacon and eggs and pancakes and sausage and all that. I don't know. So that's real. That's real kind of interesting. Nice setup here. I really, really like that. That was very well laid out. I like that kind of a thing. If you guys haven't, one thing every day you should take a look at is space weather, because it affects propagation everywhere around the world. And Dr. Tamitha Scobb, she's the number one expert around the world around this. And definitely you want to go out there. It will really help clue you in as to what your day is going to be like on the bands. So definitely you want to keep that in mind. Now, this was real interesting, and I'm going to even kind of blow this up a little bit here. Okay. A mini whip, a VHF, SHF, biconical, okay, a 10-meter dipole, a 7-band cobweb, a 2-meter 70 centimeter vertical, 2-meter 70 centimeter halo here, an 18-meter long wire, an active RX loop at 70 centimeters, an active RX loop at 110 centimeters. Okay, that I thought was pretty interesting. Okay, and what you would consider probably a pretty small footprint right there too. Okay, may need to check this antenna out. This guy bought a $30 antenna on AliExpress. Actually, it works really well, and it was in this video right here, and I posted a link. So if you guys are interested in it, it's only $30, and I would say, go for it if that's something that you want to get before they start looking at the deal with tariffs. Now, it's a good video from Walt, and Walt has some really timely videos. This one's on buying used ham radio transceivers, and he really brings up a lot of great points to look for in these. And obviously, I think if you had another set of eyes, you definitely want to do a hands-on. You definitely want to try a lot of these ones that you can buy from somebody across the country and everything. Those are, you're kind of rolling the dice. You don't know with them, but watch Walt's video. He does a good job on that. This is interesting QSO here. If you get a chance to, I would listen to that. Digital noise reduction on the 891. Our friend from Ham Radio Dude. Good video on that. That's the Boston Marathon, and they helped out with communication in the Boston Marathon, which is fantastic here. There's a real blast from the past. Walkie-talkie use in World War II right here. And there's another blast from the past, an old CB radio with a dial tuner right there. That's very, very interesting. And here we go. Lunchtime HF WinLink Wednesday check-in. That looks good. Sunrise in Galapagos right there. And that's it for the day. That's all I got. Well, want to thank you guys for stopping by. I really appreciate all you guys stopping by. Jeff, Andy, Chris, Cooley. Thank you guys for making me part of your Wednesday afternoons. I really appreciate that a lot. And I know I get quite a few people to watch the stream after it's not live anymore. And I appreciate all you guys and your comments and your likes and everything. Just make sure on the way out you hit that like button. That really helps me out a lot. That really helps the channel grow. And that's what we want to do. And I'm going to be putting out more content coming up shortly. With everything going on, I'll probably be able to retire definitely within the next year or so. So more content is going to come out on this channel. I'm going to do a lot more testing. You're going to see a lot more videos out here. So stay tuned. I'm going to have some fun. I'm looking forward to retiring so I can have fun with my hobbies. And one of them, one of my favorite hobbies is ham radio. So I'm looking forward to that. Guys, Jeff, thank you so much. I appreciate that. I appreciate, like I said, I appreciate each and every one of you guys. You know what? Drop me a line at hamradiobasics@gmail.com, and I have something in the prize closet I can get out to you guys. So you guys that are watching right now on the show, and that would be Andy, Jeff, Cooley. Drop me an email at hamradiobasics@gmail.com with your name and address, and I'll get something out to you guys, because you guys have been really good and faithful, and I appreciate you guys watching. And I just try to give my spin on the news and how everything's going with ham radios. So guys, take care. Have a great rest of your week. And remember, it's always a great day to make a QSO. 7 3s, everybody. Have a great rest of your week.